Well, hello again and welcome back. So, a little bit bored, and I just kind of had to, thought I should kind of update a little bit. So, I'm still on vacation. Apparently, I got to check tomorrow, see if they put me in for whatever time off. And if everything goes well, I will be retiring at the end of this month because it's already June 1st, right? And if I retire at the end of this month, that means I'll be going out to Missouri permanently. I gotta find a I gotta find a place for me to bring all my junk. And I was looking at houses in Oklahoma, but I saw this one place. Looked like a nice house. It was a nice house, great house, garage. You know, I think it even had a fenced-in yard for a dog or something. And so I'm looking around the neighborhood. I zoom out and I'm thinking, well, what's that? That's a weird looking neighborhood. So I zoom in on the neighborhood. It was all concrete slabs. Streets and all, everything were in place. You know, had streets and everything, except no houses. Just all flat concrete slabs. I'm thinking, uh-oh, this don't look good. It's Tornado Alley. But anyway, so maybe I'll stick with Missouri. um, but the good news, or the bright side of things, at least depending on how you look at it, is that maybe, just maybe, I'll be free to do more here in the YouTube community. I don't want to call it a great debate community, but it's good. Hey, Praise, how you doing? I was just talking about Oklahoma. I was looking for houses out there, but they had a section of the neighborhood, or part of the town, was just flat slabs, everything in place, streets and streets are in place. You know, they had the concrete slabs, but they were all looked like they were wiped clean. So maybe a tornado went through there. I don't know, but but the taxes are good. Just like in Missouri, the taxes are better than Kansas. Kansas is horrible. Even my hometown in Kansas, I don't know why they charge so much taxes. Anyway, I might be moving out to Missouri for good. I'll get me a good internet connection, and then hopefully I'll be good to go. Because I found out that they offered me a retirement package deal. It's not the greatest in the world, but it's better than nothing, I guess, considering things. But I already put in I put in to accept the offer. So if everything goes good, I'll be retired at the age of 62. I just turned 62, and I don't plan to go back to work. At least not a regular job. I'll mess around doing stuff, but maybe I'm thinking of fixing up houses. I like the idea of fixing up houses. I'll start out with whichever one I get, And then I got to bring all my junk over to that house, and then I got to fix this house and sell it. When I sell this one, then I'll get another house, fix it up, sell it. But yeah, hopefully I'll have a better internet connection, and I'll be all set up for whatever. And I still got my jungle, my woods retreat. I got my tree house that I'm building. So I'll be running around, whatever, back and forth. But yeah, sounds good. Anyway, watching the discussions, and so the people are talking about entropy in this recent discussion. They didn't get a whole lot into the entropy discussion. Everybody was trying to get them to stay on subject. They're talking niceties to each other and stuff, but which is okay, I guess. But I'm sure he's got something he was thinking about. It was Salvador what's it, Salvador Cordova? But he's got something in mind as far as entropy, how it proves entropy, but we weren't able to follow very well as to what he was trying to tell us. But he said it was a good proof of entropy, if it's the same thing what we're thinking of entropy is, But entropy is kind of obvious. As he did say at the end, he said that if there's no entropy, what's everybody trying to correct the genome for? You got cancers and everything that show up. And then the comeback was that, well, it's because we're no longer doing a natural selection thing. We're doing the biased selection or whatever. He did good. I think I respect Sal quite a bit. He's some kind of genetic uh, scientist or something. But yeah, he did pretty good. And of course the other guy. I don't think the other guy said very much at all. As far as trying to prove that there was no genetic entropy. Yeah, at the end, Sal came out with something good. He said that if there wasn't any genetic entropy, then why are they trying to correct the genome? Why do they want to fix our genome where it's broken? So, and obviously, it's not going to get any better. I mean, it can't get any better, even with the natural selection, because it's not to the strong or the swift or the brave or it's to whichever one happens to survive, which is not necessarily the best option. And I heard the other day that maybe it was Sal that said something about it, that humans have a lot more, or more easily disrupted, and the genome is more easily corrupted or something compared to other living organisms. Other organisms have more like a simple genome, and it's not as easily corrupted. Somehow it doesn't corrupt as easily. And you can have, hundreds of generations and it doesn't corrupt the genome nearly as much as the human genome. So that would be interesting to look into as well. And I think the same old thing with the information in our genome that I always like to emphasize is that there's no way that you can write instruction that's not there. It's not possible for any mechanism that's unintended, that doesn't have intent, to write a genome, to write instruction, viable instruction that's not there. To me, it's just totally absurd. It's not like an appeal to what you don't know or whatever that fallacy is. It's just totally absurd to think that you can get written instruction that's not there. And it has nothing to do with whether or not, incredulity or whatever they call it. It has nothing to do with that. I have incredulity that living organisms pop up out of nowhere. The other guy was a nuisance. Yeah, he didn't say much, I don't think. I don't remember. Of course, I don't pay too much mind anyway what they say, because to me, nothing is valid they say anyway. Till they start saying something convincing, which I don't ever expect. Oh, he did say one thing. He said that he was disappointed that they haven't found aliens yet. I'm thinking, how in the world could somebody expect or be expecting to find aliens? And it's like, that is a serious belief right there, to think that there's aliens and that he expected to find aliens. That's really bad. Anyway, my headphones are shut right now. Okay, I hope I'm not screaming into the microphone. Anyway, yeah, I thought I just want to give an update, because I've been missing, because I've been looking at houses and stuff. A little bit excited, a little bit overly excited about getting everything to fall in place so that I can retire and have everything work out the way I wanted, and for me to move out to the Midwest, back to the Midwest again. Because this is pretty, it's not a horrible place. I mean, I've been working 30 years here, or 40 years. But I guess I had enough of New Jersey. I came here when I was 17, actually. Of course, I went to the Army. I went to school in Chicago. And where else did I go? But yeah, so I guess I've had my fill of New Jersey for right now, anyway. I mean, I had the good times, and at work and stuff. I miss people at work and stuff. even the contrarians and the atheists and the unbelievers and the haters, a lot of haters. Still gonna miss them, you know. We had some good times. They're supposed to be getting together a gift for me because they go around and ask people whenever somebody retires to they get some money together and buy a birthday cake. I mean a cake or something. Buy a watch. I hope they don't buy me a watch. Anyway, but that's okay. Um, so they're doing that now because I told the main person that does that. Just I happen to be friends with the person, so and in case anybody's interested, there's a there's a wrestler called Darren Young. You ever hear the wrestler called Darren Young? This person is his mother. But anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there. It's one of them things, you know. What can I say? But you know, I get along with everybody pretty much as I can, and I really can't think of somebody that I don't get along with right now. And so, you know, we actually been through quite a lot. You know, I actually helped her out a little bit. I don't know. Darren Young was a wrestler back when they had Daniel. What's his name? Daniel. What's his name? And is it Darren? Yes, Darren Young. But he's the guy that. Well, he he said something that on national television. Everybody might know about it. But anyways, I guess I shouldn't get into that. Anyway, yeah. But I was in Tampa one time, or no, actually, I was in Orlando on a bus in Orlando, and the people were talking about saying Darren Young was going to be in Tampa, and they're talking about the wrestling match, and they're going to go see it or something, or talking about it. And I sat there and said, "Yeah, I know his mother." They look at me, and then they keep on talking. Anyway, it was pretty funny. So yeah, I actually had a place in Orlando, you know, for a while, but they had the HOA fees or some kind of monthly fee, and they kept jacking up the fee. It's like every year you have to pay $100 more or whatever it was. So that wasn't a good deal. Anyway, well, I've been through quite a bit, and see what happens now when I retire. Hopefully, keep to myself pretty much, and with the exception of you know, evangelizing on YouTube. As long as that lasts, who knows how long that would last. I used to like say statements, say things on the like they would have different channels like on different mainstream media, ABC, NBC, and other different websites and stuff, some of them liberal, and they would always kick me off. They would always cyber kill me. And I would change my name and start again on a different website or something. And the liberals on the website, they would always cyber kill me until I got onto YouTube. And then so far so good, but it was like, it wasn't even hardly a month while I was on YouTube, and they cut my revenue thing, the AdSense, whatever. And I've tried 3 or 4 times or 2 or 3 times to get it back, and they just flat out refuse. It's like somebody had it in for me, and what they did, they started clicking on my ads as if I was the one clicking on the ads, just to get me kicked off of AdSense. And they actually said as much in a post to me, and then deleted it. But that never really bothered me too much, because I think it's better not to get paid anyway, because if the advertisers have a problem with what I'm saying, I'd rather not have advertisers anyway. So, and besides, I'd rather just not get paid in any way for being on YouTube. And I don't know. It's just I was raised as a missionary kid, not a missionary, but I was raised on the field as a missionary kid, and I know what it's like to ask for money from people. And I just said I never want to do that ever in my life. Depend on anybody for funds or money or whatever. So I said that I'm just gonna earn my living, and then nobody can influence me as to what to say or what to do, and that will be much better than having people, because when people give money, they give money with strings attached, but because that's the way it works. And I saw this growing up while I was growing up, not my whole life, but I just never liked the idea of asking for money from anybody. I got a bad taste in my mouth because of that. Because we were not the richest missionaries in the world, some of the kids had, quote unquote rich missionary parents. We weren't one of we weren't the rich ones. We were the poor the poor missionaries. So, and there's so the other missionaries actually had to help out my father a little bit as far as financial things, finances, because my dad actually worked the finances of the mission, and he was like mathematical, and he did a lot of math and stuff. But anyways, he kept everything, the finances, going good in the mission, the different sections of the different parts of the mission, with the buying and selling of groceries. And he also utilized a truck and did the finances of the truck, and so he was in charge of that. And it took, like, when he left, there was like 3 people that replaced his job. So that's how well he did the job. But anyway, I never liked the idea of asking for money. It's just, Paul Paul was a tent maker in the Bible, so if he was a tent maker, I can work for a living too. And then I don't have to worry about what anybody wants me to say or do. I can be free to speak my conscience, which is what everybody should be doing anyway. And probably a lot of people do anyways, but it's just that I never liked it, like to depend or ask for money from anybody. Because like I said, I know what it's like. And I know what it's like to lack funds, lack money, and not to have what you need. And so anyway, so it's not so bad now because I've been working for 40 years. So finally I can retire. 30 years at one job. I completed 30 years this year at my one job. I'm not going to say what it is yet, but I'll have more things to say whenever I retire. I'll be free to say more, you know, tell more about my life and stuff. But for the sake, because it's the job I have is somewhat sensitive, a little bit sensitive, so I can't really talk about it. It's not high security job. I mean, not, at least not like, you know, not like presidential stuff or nothing like that. But it is a sensitive job with security and stuff like that. But anyways, I got if they put it in, I hope they put it in that I can take sick days off for the rest of the month because of this COVID thing, this SARS thing, SARS-2 coronavirus. That they might, I think they said they're going to give me sick time off because I have plenty of sick days until the end of the month, and then that'll be that. But I might even go out earlier than that to scope out things or whatever. I gotta maybe make a trip out there. Getting stuff ready. A lot of excitement for me. Can't get too excited, but maybe if people can pray for me, make everything works out good, because a little bit, I don't know, I'm just a little bit nervous about it because I never retired before, so just gotta see if everything works out okay. Because I have a lot to do in the next few months, moving and fixing things up and stuff like that. So I'll be busy for a good while. But then hopefully, I'll be able to settle down and get things straight, and I'll be able to participate a lot more in the quote unquote great debate community. The great, not so great debate community. And but I have to leave G-Man behind. I never did meet with him yet, but maybe I can still do that before I go. But I used to talk to the Black Hebrew Israelites a long, long time ago on the street. Actually, all the way back from Chicago, probably. And I enjoyed talking to people. with it, because they like to talk about what they believe, and I like to talk about what I believe. So works out pretty good. Yep. So I guess there's no. I guess 4:30 in the morning over here. Guess nobody's up to talk. I guess usually there's some atheist or something that want to argue with me, but I guess not tonight, or it's Monday morning too. But can't expect that. And I used to work nights, and I'm still up at night. Still, I can't seem to get my schedule changed back during to be awake in the daytime. I was doing okay when I was out in Missouri in the woods, but it was hard to do that all the time out there, because sometimes I would like to go walking out at night in the woods with my red light, see if I could see something. I saw a fox, and of course I saw things like armadillos and raccoons. No, I didn't see the raccoon. I saw the raccoon when I was up in my treehouse, but possums and armadillos and stuff I would run into in the woods. But other than that, oh, I saw a rabbit. I saw a rabbit one time when I was up in a tree house, and I saw the raccoon one time. They're kind of like oblivious to you when you're up in the tree house. So actually, the rabbit, I was on the ground, and the rabbit was just right there. I guess he didn't see. I could see him in the dark, but he was just sitting there munching, chewing away. But yeah, thanks for being here, Praise. At least for the time being. But if I run out of things to say, I'll just end it probably. Because I don't like to talk about nothing, and I don't want to use up my time either, because it says I'm low on time. I only have, what, 12 more hours or something like that, which isn't too bad, because it's supposed to renew pretty soon this week, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that's about it. The atheists really have got some soul searching to do, because they are really way behind as far as keeping up with us. And like even Standing for Truth was saying that they don't even keep up on the research. And so, I mean, they've always been you know, not being able to support their claims, their belief. And they've always, as far as I'm concerned, they haven't provided anything. Every claim they ever made has always been disproved, from the embryos to the pig's tooth to this man, the other man, and humans are always humans anyway. And the apes, or the other apes, if you want to call it that, have always been the other apes. They've never been. I mean, they have different instruction to be different things. It's not really that complicated, as far as I can tell. Even between the apes, they got different instruction, and of course, they have no common ancestor either, because all the monkeys are all different too. The other baboons, New World monkeys, Old World monkeys, they're all have their own information. Lemurs have another set of information. Nothing is related to anything. Everything just starts abruptly and that's it. So they really have a lot of catching up to do as far as supporting their view of naturalism, because naturalism, you know, the belief in a natural cause for natural things is kind of silly to begin with, and it's like they never even thought of it before. How can a natural physical thing be the cause of a natural physical thing? And the only thing they can ever say is that energy is eternal. That's even remotely sensible, except for the fact that energy comes from a greater energy, and energy also can't order itself. And in the universe, we see ordered energy going from order to disorder when it can't order itself. That's a big problem. And it can't account for its own existence either, for that matter. Because energy can't make energy. Energy has to come from a greater energy. And that's your proof of an infinite, all powerful God right there. And the fact that everything's sensible and everything is, you know, in the universe, we got programmable matter. How can you have programmable matter that's programmed inside of you without having a maker? So not only do we have infinite energy potential, we have intelligence behind it. We have, rationale behind it, reason behind it. Not only is it rational and reasonable, it's holy, it's perfect. Because if it wasn't, it would self-destruct and we wouldn't exist. So all you have to do is follow the evidence back to its source, and you know that there's an infinite, all-power, all-knowing, eternal maker of everything there is. And the goat herders figured that out. The goat herders knew more than today's quote-unquote scientists like Lawrence Krauss, Stephen Hawking, Richard Dawkins, P.Z. Myers, you name it, Sean Carroll, all the people, Carolyn Porco, they're all biased and they're all haters of Trump too, besides. So not only are they wrong about science, they're wrong about practical things, about things having to do with our future and our lives and our country that's based on doing things right, that's based on not having a government tell you what to think and what to believe. That's the whole purpose of the United States, is to be free to believe your own conscience and to speak your own conscience or speak your own mind. So, and that's what's under attack. It's always been under attack. And that's what the left has been doing for decades and decades. And they've been, attacking the educational system for decades now and pushing their own philosophies and their beliefs, which are godless philosophies and beliefs. Not only that, We have people with a lot of money paying to corrupt television, to corrupt, school systems, and everything too. Besides, so we got the onslaught from all sides, all directions, attacking what we believe, and this is the life of a Christian. We're under attack. We've always been under attack, and I never really appreciated too much people sitting in the pews and not doing anything. To me, you're just asking for trouble, because if you don't bring the truth to people before they come to you, when they come to you, they're not going to be as patient with you as if you took the truth to them in the first place, because they don't understand. They accuse us of believing things that aren't true, when in fact they're the ones that believe things that aren't true. They accuse us of not doing science, when in fact they are the ones that don't do science, because science is what you can know, and you can know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And knowing the truth convinces you to do what is right, because everything has a cause and effect. People don't like me saying, but every reaction has an equal and opposite reaction. That's true with morals too. And if people could understand that, they could be more willing, ready, and able to do what's right, knowing that it's to everyone's benefit, including their own benefit. So it's the truth of the gospel that we have to get out there. Evangelists like G-Man and Ray Comfort and Ken Ham and Ken Hovind, they got the right idea. We got to be out there bringing the truth to people, bringing it to the world before the world comes to you demanding answers. Because they're not going to be so patient when they come demanding answers, especially if they're full of communistic ideals. I've known people that have suffered under communism, suffered under the Nazis, and one person in particular, and his wife, and other citizens, like at least 3 other people that were with him, suffered with him. They suffered under the communists, and they suffered under the Nazis, both. And they were Jewish people. It was a Jewish person. His name's Richard Wurmbrand. And the reason why I'm saying is I just want to tell the story of how when his tormentors would come to torment him and beat him, they were like hired guards. They weren't always the same guards that were torturing them. So the guards would come to them and say, all the prisoners, and they say, all the Christians step forward to get your beating. So Richard Wurmbrand said, I'm a Jew. Says, oh, we don't want Jews right now. We just want Christians. So Christians would have to step forward and take their beating. And then And then the next time another guard would come and say, "Oh, all the Jews step forward to receive your beating." And then he would say, "I'm a Christian." And so he didn't get the beating sometimes, but he was assigned a number. You know, every prisoner has a number, is given a number. His number was number one. That was his prison number. But anyways, there's a whole bunch of stories that he told. He would tell stories about tapping on the wall, you know, the prison wall, because they were in separate rooms or cells. So they would communicate by tapping on the wall, and everybody would be listening to the messages being tapped on the wall. And the way they communicated was one tap for A, two taps for B, three taps for C. Because they had plenty of time, they had all the time in the world to send messages to each other. So everybody be listening to the messages, and he actually won people to the Lord sometimes tapping on the wall. People would believe in God from the gospel being tapped in the message on the wall or the code. So there's a lot of people have suffered, you know, a lot under communism and things like that, and they know what it is to suffer under communism. So if that's what's coming to the United States, then we're going to be suffering some persecution, and they're not going to be as patient with us as we have been with them, because they're going to be demanding answers, and they want their answers yesterday, and it's never good enough, and they'll throw you in prison before they believe what you're saying, because that's the way communism is, and you know, leftism or ungodliness is. People that don't believe in God have no patience for people. They don't even have patience for peasants. You know, they'll just shoot them down just because they're peasants. You know, and these atheists that think they're so moral, they're living in a world influenced by Christianity. They wouldn't be as moral, and they're not going to be as moral if the tide turns against Christian teaching, as it already has and has been against Christian teaching for many years. So that Europeans don't even know anybody that believes that is a Christian, but everything they practice and do is from a basis of belief in God, a basis of Christian teaching. But as soon as that goes, then not as soon as it goes, but in due time, if you kick out God's word, people will start rationalizing, and they'll start persecuting people that believe in God. And they're not going to be as nice as what they claim to be. They claim to be these moral, you know, upright people, perfectionists or whatever. And they're not going to be that way. They're going to turn. They're going to turn on us in a heartbeat, because they're unbelievers in God. They believe in rationalizing everything, and as soon as they rationalize away our right to live as human beings or as Christians, they're going to label us as bigots, label us as haters and punish us, accordingly. What's up, Wild Heart? How are you doing? So, I guess Wild Heart is not going to want to participate. But yeah, Europeans have the shell of Christianity, Christian society, without the belief in God or Christ. Because the belief in God or Christ is no longer there, but the shell of Christian teaching is still there a little bit. But as soon as that erodes away, they'll be back to their atheism and their hatred of God and their persecution of Christians and poor people, peasants, whoever gets in the way for whatever reason, whatever whim they have, just for the thrill of being able to do away with somebody else. You know, just look at these demonstrators. Look how quickly they'll turn on you. Look how quickly a quote unquote peaceful demonstration turns violent. They say, "Oh, we're peaceful demonstrators." Peaceful demonstrators that'll snap in a heartbeat and beat somebody to death. What's up? Wild Heart is bored too. Yeah, I was a little bit bored. I figured I'll get on here and talk a little bit. But yeah, if you don't have a moral compass or the Holy Spirit in particular, there's nothing to stop you from, you know, turning on people. Everybody's all nice and everything until somebody gets in their way. I remember coming to the United States as a kid. This is as a missionary kid. We came to Miami Airport, and I remember this big lady. She said, "Excuse me," and I, as a kid, was thinking, "What do you mean, excuse me? That doesn't sound like an excuse me to me. It sounds more like a get out of the way, get out of my way." So I always laughed at people saying, "Excuse me," excuse me. It doesn't mean excuse me. It means get out of my way. Anyway, it's just crazy. Different cultures, different customs, different people. So I had a hard time at first understanding some Americans in particular when I came here. And it took me a while to warm up to, people that were not Christians or whatever. I'm from Brazil. I was I went there when I was 3 years old because my parents were missionaries, and so I was raised pretty much largely in Brazil. I spent when I wasn't in Brazil, I was in Kansas, and then when I came back to the United States when I was 17, I came to New Jersey, and I've been on and off in New Jersey pretty much ever since. But now I announced in this live stream that I plan to retire at the end of this month at the age of 62, and I'll be moving to the Midwest, Missouri. And so I'm looking for a home, and I'll be moving in the next couple of months and working on houses and stuff. So I'll be pretty busy for the next couple of months. And then hopefully I can settle down and get down to making some good YouTube videos or good content. Maybe I can spend some time and study a little bit more, things that interest me. Yep, I'm pretty excited about the retirement, and because I didn't expect to retire this early, because I was expecting to work to like 65 and retire. But then I was thinking, if they offer an easy out, they call it an early out. I'm a mechanic, so I call it an easy out. They offer an early out. I said, I think I'm going to take it. The next one they offer. And then this SARS-2 virus came along and really messed up a lot of companies and everything. A lot of companies are hurting. And so they got to rethink, how their employees, how they're going to staff their company and stuff. So they offered me some kind of a deal. They already offered one deal, and it was like I didn't want to accept it because it didn't seem like very much that they were offering. It seemed more like they're just trying to get rid of us and without offering anything. And they're still not offering any amount of money, but they are offering some kind of benefits, different benefits or whatever. But I guess that's the best I can do right now. So since I don't want to go back to work anyway, I figured I'll just take it. So I took it and I accepted the offer, to the package they offered, whatever it is. And so at the end of this month, I'll be retiring, and I'll be moving out west, and I'll be able to play in the woods and build my tree house and work on the houses, whatever I want to do. I need to get me some kind of quad vehicle, but I gotta move first and fix up the houses first. Then I can run around. Maybe I can get a boat and motor, putt. Anyway, go fishing in the Ozarks. Sounds like fun. The Ozarks are a series of lakes. When I was a kid, I went skiing in the Ozark lakes. It was more up north in central Missouri. But I remember trying to slalom, and the boat that I was behind was pretty powerful. And so I'm doing okay, right? And then they're making me go around these corners, and they took a corner really fast, so I wiped out. And I went into the water. I had a vest on, but here I am. I'm swimming for what I think is the direction up, and I'm swimming down. Swimming down instead of trying to swim down, and the vest brought me up to the surface. So you get disoriented. You can get disoriented when you wipe out sometimes. So it's a good thing you have you got to wear a vest. Anyway, but that was fun. I like the water ski, snow ski stuff. But that was in the Ozarks a long time ago when I was a kid. And the Ozarks go all the way down into Arkansas and maybe even Oklahoma a little bit. And it's pretty, it's all right. They're just country country folk out here. I have some nice neighbors. Anyway, so and there's not a lot of rules or laws to bother people. People pretty much do what they want unless you're on the highway. Then the police will stop if you go 5 miles over the speed limit. They'll stop you. And I'm from New Jersey. I get on the highway. We'll have to start calling it your ocean jargon. Get in a boat. Yeah, but we in the Missouri we don't have ocean. We only have lakes. We got beaches, but no ocean. Just lakes. Um, see, what was I talking about? I forget. The I'm gonna ask what I was talking about now. Anyways, yeah, in Missouri we got the lakes, the Ozarks. Um, I lost my train of thought, but that's okay. Gotta remember to keep track of my thoughts. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, yeah, we're country people out here, and we don't. Oh yeah, I get on the highway, and in Missouri here, and I'm used to driving in New Jersey. In New Jersey, there's like they don't even care how fast people go sometimes, as long as you're not doing above 80, 85 or whatever. But because there's more serious things for them to deal with, and if people don't know how to drive at a safe speed, that's their problem. No, it's okay. I've remembered what it was. I get it. So I get on the road in Missouri, and I just start driving. I'm not even thinking about the speed I'm going. So I'm on this country road, but I'm going like, what is it? The speed limit would be, I think it was 60. Is it 60 or 55 or something? I'm going like, I just get on the thing. I just start doing like about 70 or so, and there's a policeman coming the other way. In the other, it was just a 2-lane highway or whatever. Forward and backwards or whatever on both sides. And this policeman comes from the other direction, the opposite direction, and I'm just oblivious to what's going on, right? And he passes me, and then he whips around and comes back after me. And I'm thinking, what's this guy doing? What's going on? He said I was doing, whatever it was, 70 or whatever. So I'm saying, Oh man, I'm sorry. I didn't even realize how fast I was going. Of course, he doesn't know, the way we drive in New Jersey. I said, so I wasn't even thinking. I thought, anyway. But I guess, did he give me a warning? Yeah, I think he just gave me a warning. He was more concerned about whether or not I had drugs in the car or something. And I said the car is full of camping equipment. He says, I don't care about the camping equipment. I just want to check to see if there's drugs. I guess you don't have to let them check, I guess. I don't know. But I said, go ahead and check. I don't care. They're not going to find anything anyway. But he was sure he was going to find something. He's looking. I guess they know how to look or where to look or whatever. But he thought I was doing on some pills or something. It's the way I talk. I said, this is the way I always talk. So he thought I was doing something. So he had me do a test where I close my eyes, look up or something, and count to 30. 30 seconds, count off 30 seconds. And so I did that. Took them a while finally because policemen sometimes are paranoid too. They think they think whatever about you, and it's hard to convince them otherwise. It's like they're paranoid. They are paranoid sometimes. With good reason sometimes, but sometimes it's just hard to convince them that you're not doing drugs or whatever. Because I was tired. I just got on the road after hiking up a hill, like not just a small hill, a big hill. So I was like out of breath and tired and everything. Besides talking the way I talk anyway. And the guy was convinced that I was on something. Anyways. Yeah, but yeah, so I did learn. I did learn to on the back roads, at least not the real back roads, but the back roads that are just regular county roads or whatever. You gotta obey the speed limit. Everybody follows the speed limit. Once you get on the highway, you can do maybe 5 miles above the speed limit, maybe. But then they always have these construction zones. Construction zones are so annoying because it wouldn't be so bad if you had a construction zone and you slowed down, waved at everybody as you go by, and then you go on your way, right? But no, they got these signs that say, okay, there's going to be construction in a mile away. I mean, not a mile away. It's going to be construction in 3 miles. So I say, okay, 3 miles are going to be construction. Then they say 2 miles are going to be construction. All right, 2 miles are going to be construction. Then 1 mile are going to be construction. Then you get there and it's construction. They got signs all over the place, everything. Not a construction worker in sight. And it's for like 15 miles. 15 miles of signs and barriers and everything. No construction whatsoever. It's horrible. And worst thing off, sometimes you'll be going by there. One time I was going by, I was falling behind. No, actually, I was in front of the trucks. The trucks were barreling behind me. I let them pass. So these 2 trucks pass me, and they go barreling on by. And so I'm falling behind them and in this construction zone. And there's this young policeman at the side of the road. It looked like, I'm saying, what's that truck? It looks like a truck. It was at nighttime. I couldn't see very well. What's that, a truck on the side of the road? That's pretty dangerous, the side of the road on construction and everything. So I go by I drive by it. It's a policeman, and he comes out after guess who? He comes out after me, stops me, and gave me some kind of other ticket. Didn't give me a ticket for speeding or anything because that would have been points off my license, everything. And it's like these two trucks went barreling by me, and who's he stop? He stops me. He was a young policeman. Anyway, traffic cones are always fun. Yep. Anyway, so that's my pet peeves: the construction zones that have no construction. And so, see, the thing is, it wouldn't be so bad, but you don't know. You don't know if you drive the speed limit, or if you drive a little bit above the speed limit, or not, because you don't know if there's going to be a policeman, whether there's construction or not, ready to give you a ticket. So it's annoying. So you end up going the speed limit they're telling you to go, and everybody's behind you, backing up behind you. So annoying. So people are always speeding up and slowing down in construction zones like that. It's like, and then because you don't know whether to take them serious or not. But anyway, that's that. So that's my experience driving. So, traffic cones. What? We got slalom cones to drive through. Driving test cones. Yeah, we got barricades. In New Jersey, they have what they call Jersey barriers. Anyway, but if it wasn't for the construction, driving would be a lot more fun, a lot better. Anyway, so yeah, the discussions on the great debate community aren't so great no more because the opposing position, I don't even know what to call them no more. Because they don't know what to call themselves anyway either. They don't know what position they're taking. They don't know what to call themselves. I'm an anti-theist. I'm a soft atheist. I'm a hard atheist. I'm a agnostic atheist. Can't make up their mind what it is they want to call themselves or what position they want to take. And they're afraid to take a position because they don't want to defend whatever it is that they believe. And I'm talking to Wild Heart right now. Anyway, so we're not afraid to say what it is we believe. We're not afraid of defending our position, what we believe, because we can defend it, as opposed to some people like don't even know what position to take. Anyway, but yeah, as far as evolution, that's another thing. They can't defend that either. They're always attacking our position because they can't defend their own position. They can't provide evidence proving evolution. So all they do is attack creation. That's because there's different types of atheists. That's what I'm saying. You don't know what call yourselves. You call yourself this kind of atheist, that kind of atheist, um, anti-theist, agnostic, whatever it is. Deist. What's a deist? A deist that hates God and his children. It's like if you believe something, state what it is that you believe and back it up. That's what creationists do. We state what it is, exactly what it is that we believe, and we back it up with evidence. The evidence that is. Because there is no other evidence of any other thing other than the fact that nothing can make itself. Nothing can direct itself. Nothing can order itself. That's what the evidence is. That's what we believe. That's what we state. So we back it up. Say, look, this is what the evidence is. No one ever observed any energy making itself, any biology making itself, ordering itself. See, people who believe in God but hate Him are called mesotheists. Oh, okay. I don't even know what that is. A mesotheist. Uh, mesotheist. Oh, I don't know what that is either. Misery theist. Oh, anyway. Well, yeah, we have evidence. Even the Bible says that creation is evident. That's what it said. I believed it, so I went and looked and said, yes, creation is evident. There is evidence of a creation because nothing can make itself. Everything in biology made of programmable matter is directed to be what it is. And if it's directed to be what it is, it can't be anything else. It's not complicated. Don't lose sleep over it. That's what the fact is. Can't be anything else. Can only be what it has directives to be. What was that movie about the robot? He always said, directives. I have directives. I have directives to do this, to do that. He had to do what his directives told him to do. Creation is only evidence if you call it creation. Well, that's what the evidence is of creation. The evidence is not of anything creating itself. But that would be interesting, seeing your cell phone charge itself, making itself, charging itself. That'd be interesting. It's unscientific, but it'd be interesting if it happened, which is silly to think that it happens. And what do they call it? They call it incredulity. Yeah, I have incredulity that the cell phone's going to charge itself. I have incredulity that the cell phone's going to make itself too. You have to prove otherwise. Because it's absurd to think such a thing could happen. But if you call it existence, it doesn't require a creator. existence? Well, everything requires energy. The existence of anything and everything requires energy, and energy can't make itself, energy can't order itself. Energy always comes from a greater amount of energy. That's kind of what I'm saying. And that's what the evidence is. So creation is evident. It's not complicated. It's easy. Easy to understand. I don't want to talk about IQ, as it relates to wild heart, but it's not complicated. Well, wild heart is good about it. He doesn't claim to be, all that. Doesn't claim to be the smartest person in the world, as I too don't claim to be the smartest person in the world. But you do need a little bit of intelligence to understand nothing can make itself or direct itself or order itself. No part of evolution is possible. No part. I'm probably making squeaks here, but it's my fidget thing. So no part of anything causing itself to be is ever observed. So it's not scientific. Probably best not to talk about IQ. Yeah. Either mine or yours. What if energy in some form has always existed? See, that's the thing. What if energy is eternal? It still can't order itself. It still can't direct itself. And we see both energy ordered and directed. So that's why I believe in a creator, because it's energy is ordered and it's directed. I mean, in a sense of thermodynamics, the energy is ordered. In an ordered state going to a disordered state, it's not ever shown to be coming from somewhere else except for dark energy and dark matter, which they can't account for. But we don't see anything, energy coming from outside the universe, And we don't hardly ever see any instruction coming from outside the universe, as in healings, So, and if it is, it's not a natural thing. If you see a healing, a withered arm straightening out and becoming whole, you're not going to say that was a natural cause. Isn't that the law of entropy, not God? Well, it's the law of entropy that proves God. When I was a kid and I first read about the law of entropy, because I was like interested in science. I liked science. So I'm reading the law of entropy. And this is a long time ago too. This is not yesterday or the other day. This is like 50 years ago or something like that. 45 years ago maybe, or even more than 45 years. So I'm reading the law of entropy. It says, that energy can't be made or destroyed. It goes from order to disorder. And it's a law of science. And I'm thinking, wow, This guy that made the law of science, he just proved the existence of God. I said that when I was a kid, a long, long time ago. When I was a kid, when I first heard the law of entropy, and I must have been like, what, 13 years old or something like that, because it was in Brazil. And I'm thinking, wow, this guy's brave. He just proved the existence of God. And then I come to find out that the scientists don't even realize that he proved the existence of God with the law of entropy, the law of thermodynamics. They don't even, they're totally oblivious to the fact that the law of thermodynamics proves the existence of God. They don't, it goes right over their head. They don't even think about it. Exactly. It can't be created or destroyed. So how did God create it? Well, if you think about it, it it can't make itself, can't order itself. So any energy that we do see didn't come from itself. It had to have come from a greater source of energy. And where did that greater source of energy come from? It came from a greater source. So that ultimately there had to be an infinite source of energy, an infinite potential, an all powerful source of where the energies came from. I can't say coming from, but it came from, at least what we observe. So, that's right. That right there proves the existence of an all-powerful God, and the fact that it was ordered too. Not only can it make itself, it can't order itself either. So, um, I don't see what's so hard to understand about that. And then you add to that the intelligent biological organisms that exist had to have come from a greater intelligence. So anything greater than us had to come from a greater intelligence. So not only do we have an all-powerful God, we have an all-knowing God. And of course, we're made in the image of God. That's why we're intelligent, because of our Maker. That's why we have logic. We can understand things, is because of our Maker that gave us the ability to see, comprehend, and understand what's going on. While the rest of the animal kingdom doesn't know what's going on, is oblivious to what's going on. Says, well, yeah, but it's not a matter of sides. It's a matter of what's logical, rational, reasonable, and sensible. And naturalism just doesn't make any sense. Not only can naturalism not make anything natural, it can't cause anything natural to become something that it doesn't have written instructions to be. The written instructions aren't there. How can it be something other than what it is directed to be, or commanded to be, ordered to be? It can't. That's the whole thing. And it's not complicated. To me, we should be able to come here, have this discussion, settle it, and move on from there. But you still have people that don't get it. See, that would mean God would have to come from a greater intelligence. Otherwise, it would be special pleading. But you just overlook the fact that God didn't come from anything. God always was. God is eternal. He always was the all-knowing, all-powerful, eternal creator because he is holy. There is no corruption in him. If there was corruption, if he was imperfect in any way, he would self-destruct and he wouldn't be eternal. He wouldn't exist, and neither would we exist. Nothing would exist because it would self-destruct. So, who made God? The who made God question just shows, you know, how little you know about what the teaching is, what the Christian teaching is, or what the true teaching is. Let's see. Then the rule that all intelligence come from a greater intelligence is invalid. No, because he's all-knowing, all-powerful. His wisdom is infinite. Infinite wisdom, understanding, power, and existence is infinite. I mean, that's what the evidence is showing, because it didn't come from a lesser amount of power, didn't come from a lesser amount of intelligence, a lesser amount of ability. Always has to come from a greater amount. And that's your evidence of God. And if you would believe the truth, you would be much more stable in everything you do. You're not going to be second guessing anything, because you're going to be sure of what you believe. You're going to be sure about what you say and do. And the only time you won't be is if you don't have faith in what the truth is and you don't have the works that show that you have faith. So if you really do have faith in God, your works are going to follow accordingly, because what you believe is what is true. And not only is it true, it's absolutely true, and it's absolutely right, and absolutely perfect, and there is no fault in God. I mean, that's what the Bible teaches over and over again. Same with energy. If God is energy, then he must... No, but don't confuse being energy with having energy and having power, having understanding. If God is energy, then he must have come from a greater energy. But see, there you go again. God didn't come from anything because he always was. He's eternal. That's the point that you are not able to grasp. I know that eternity is hard to grasp. Infinity is hard to grasp. The scientists, they don't even believe infinity exists. They don't even think there is such a thing as eternity or infinity. They can't even grasp it either. But it's what the evidence is showing, and the goat herders understood it and wrote about it, because it is written in the Bible, nowhere else, that God is all-knowing, all-powerful, and eternal. No other teaching has that teaching of what the goat herders understood, because they were just looking at the same evidence that we have, things that exist. Okay, it always has to come from a greater source, except when it comes to God. Right, because he is infinitely powerful and eternal, which is a wonder why he has anything to do with us. It's not special pleading, it's following what the evidence shows. That means the argument is not fallacious. Yeah. So if you follow the evidence, it always has to go, which is the definition of what God is: infinite knowledge, infinite wisdom, understanding, counsel, and strength, and power, and knowledge. Yeah, I don't know if people are getting up early or going to bed late. I'm going to bed late. I'm not even tired, so I'm way off, way off schedule because I used to work at night, so still haven't gotten off the schedule. So, and right around about maybe 9 o'clock, maybe I'll start getting tired. 9 o'clock in the morning, about a few hours from now. See, yeah, if anybody out there wants to participate, um, atheists, we could talk about it. And but to me, it's so clear. To me, it is so obvious what the evidence is showing. It's not showing a natural cause. It's not showing that anything made or directed or ordered itself. It's showing that everything has to come from a greater cause, a greater power, a greater understanding, greater knowledge. That's what the evidence is. You can't change what the evidence is. You can't make up evidence, just like you can't make up human history or the history of the earth that you want it to be. We have a known history of the earth, of the creation of the earth that out of water, that was water before land came up out of water, and a subsequent flood that flooded the earth, that covered the earth with water again, the world. So in that covering of the earth with water the second time, that's what gave us the geology that we have today of miles worth of consecutive layers of water deposited sediments on top of a great unconformity that is everywhere around the world. So not only do we have evidence of the pre-flood world sediment layers below the great unconformity, we have evidence of the global flood above the great unconformity, which is the redeposition of the sediment layers after the global flood. And then we have the runoff of the water that carved all the canyons. Okay, so we got 600 years. That's what the evidence that we have, yeah. Young earther, Yeah, it's just a little bit more than 6,000 years, maybe 6,020 years or less, whatever, more or less. Actually, it's 2020 now, so it's maybe 2,000, I mean 6,025 years, something like that. Wow, it keeps adding up. I remember when it was year 2000. The year 2000 didn't seem like that long ago. That's crazy. Anyway, it's lucky all those animals sorted themselves into layers before they drowned. Well, they were in, you know, in places where they were found. Sea life was on the bottom, and everything else was on top of that. But if you want to know what the evidence shows, you will find, you're going to have to look for it, but you will find birds at the time of the dinosaurs and even before that. Ian Juby just came out with a video showing ostriches in the Carboniferous or whatever it was, way before they were expected to be found. And I don't know if it was the Carboniferous, it was something, but it was way, way, way before. Maybe it was the Permian or something. I don't know. He found ostrich tracks, which are clearly ostrich tracks, and he shows the tracks of ostriches and making tracks in the mud and everything, and he shows the fossil track is just like an ostrich, two-toed footprint, not a three-toed dinosaur footprint. Well, it was way, way below where it was supposed to be. So, and you can watch the video if you want. I was going to do a video talking about the Ian Juby video, but I figured I talk about myself instead. But maybe I'll still make a video of the Ian Juby video. So it says, surely all birds should be on top. They aren't because they're found with dinosaurs and they're found before that, according to the Ian Juby video. Because you know, they do have bird footprints all over the place anyways. I mean, if you want the evidence, you can find it because they got bird tracks all over the place throughout the layers, because you always find the track before you find the fossil or, below where you find the fossil. Almost always, always, always. You'll find the tracks and then you'll find the buried fossil above it, which, screams global flood anyway, to begin with. But, people just don't want to believe what is known human history for thousands of years. And they want to make up their own history, make up their own calendars, make up their own timeline, where you have not millions of years, but billions of years with no sediment layer deposited. No sediment layers being deposited for billions of years. And they say that life is only 800 million years old. Well, actually, it had to have been before that. But the major life forms, they say, is only like 800 million years old. Or they say only. when the matter of fact is that 50 million years would have washed all of the sediment layers into the ocean, when they're trying to say that the sediment layers are 800 million years old. A mere 50 million years would wash them all into the ocean at current rates of erosion. And do they care? Do they care about what the facts are? Besides all the other facts of known historical events that were written down, the Bible's always saying it is written. It was written down before it happened. When we're talking about prophecies, but it was written down, the events that took place. Not only by the Bible, but by other historical records. And then now you have another problem. Guess what the other problem is? The other problem for evolutionists and atheists is DNA. Because DNA is verifying everything the Bible ever said about the migration of people all over the world. That we spread out from the cradle of civilization where the ark landed. Everybody went every which way from the cradle of civilization where majority of DNA is represented to this day. And you don't want to believe known historical records, calendars, genealogies, historical records, and you don't want to believe science either. The actual DNA evidence showing where everybody came from, where everybody went. And we know these people. We can see the CY chromosome is Nimrod. And Nimrod is the son of Cush, who is the father of all the dark-skinned people on earth. And Nimrod, his descendants, many of his descendants are dark-skinned people as well. When you're talking about Australia, Australians have the CY chromosome. That's Nimrod. Of course, it mixed autosomally with the people in the area. And the CY chromosome also mixed with the people in the area of Asia, all the way up through Siberia, the Mongolians, all the way to the Americas, with a DY chromosome all the way through Tibet, Siberia, and the Jomon areas in Japan. They have the the DY chromosome, which is another Cushite. So the D and the C and the E and the A and the B, they all go back to the same family tree, the branch of the same family tree. They're all branches of the same family tree. So, no, it wasn't Cain. That's the dark-skinned people. I think you're confusing Canaan, not Cain, because Ham had 4 sons: Cush, Mitzrayim, and Put. And the 4th son, the other son, was Canaan, not Cain, Canaan. And it was Canaan that was cursed by Noah. When Ham laughed at Noah's nakedness, Noah said, "Cursed be Canaan." And it's Canaan that we don't have the Y chromosome from, at least unless it's an E or something, which is possibility too, because both Mitzrayim and Cush are the same EY chromosome, and then Put is an EY chromosome too. So they could be branches of the same tree, which they are. They're all descendants of Ham. Um, well, it was written down. It's what the evidence shows, because the Bible wasn't the only written record. There were other records. There was Book of Enoch, Book of Jasher, and other secular records that corroborate what the Bible says. The Bible is the most accurate record that there is. And it's even more accurate than other records because it doesn't hide what people did. You know, exposes everything everyone did. While if you read Egyptian records, you're not going to read about people's faults. You're going to read about people's greatness, you know. Was Cain? Well, they're a little bit off anyways. Mormons, they got some weird ideas or extra biblical ideas. Oh, curse of Cain doctrine. Okay, all right. That's their own issues. So that's a good thing to know anyway. But yeah, it's not even Cain that was cursed. It was Canaan. Canaan was cursed. C-A apostrophe A-N. Canaan. Or Ka'anan. Ka'anan. I don't know, something like that. I'm making up my pronunciation anyway. But yeah, it was Canaan that was, they Mormons probably might even confuse that themselves, for that matter. Uh, yeah, it's all right. Rabbit holes are good sometimes if you got the time, because it's good. It's good to know what all the details are, what all the facts are. So yeah, we have you know great populations of descended from Cush, Mitzrayim, which is the Egyptians, and Put, which is the Phoenicians, and which are the Libyans today, or Berbers, or whatever they call them. But the Canaanites are not to be found. You can't find the Canaanites unless they are the E population in the Jewish people. Because the Jewish people do have like a 25% population of the EY chromosome, which is a significant population in the Jewish people. But of course, they were mixing all the time. Moses had an Egyptian wife, or yeah, Egyptian or something. Oh, Cushite, I think. As a matter of fact, Moses' wife was a Cushite, which is the black-skinned people. So, and also Joseph had an Egyptian wife, and of course, many people down through the years did have, um, at least autosomally, they had Cushite and Egyptian, different Y chromosomes. I mean, autosomally, and the Y chromosome would be the male, and the female would be the mtDNA. But I gotta look again at the female mtDNA, because that would be probably find um, something there. But it's interesting that it doesn't seem to be found. Well, maybe it is found. Maybe there is L in the mtDNA in the Jewish population. There might be some L in there. Should be. Which would be interesting to find. So of the Y chromosome, there is an E in the Jewish population, about 25% or more in the Jewish population, and that is not Semitic Y chromosome. It's either descendant of Cush, Mitzrayim, Put, which is not so likely, but it could be Canaan too, possibly. So that would be interesting to find out. But we know the CY chromosome is Nimrod, and we know from history that Nimrod was Cush's son. Cush is Ham's son. Of course, Ham is Noah's son. So we have Y chromosome DNA evidence that matches the historical narrative, the history of known people who existed after the global flood, who survived the global flood. So that's another thing. We're all survivors of the global flood or descendants of them. And not only that, we're just plain survivors, because a lot of people did not survive, either whether it was not being able to be born or otherwise, you know. So we do have a lot to be thankful for in spite of our genetic entropy, which is a thing. And, well, I guess I'm getting tired, so I'll just go ahead and wrap it up. So here we go. What do we got here? Moses had many wives, I think, before God decided monogamy was. No, I think Moses had one wife, as far as I know. But Abraham had two wives, or two. He gave birth to the JY chromosome, is Abraham's Y chromosome, and probably the IY chromosome too. But yeah, it was Solomon that had many wives. Solomon had many, many wives and concubines, because he had everything he ever wanted. And Abraham had Sarah, which was from his own, family, not immediate family. I think it was a half sister or something. But the other wife was, I guess, Egyptian, Hagar. Okay, later on, well, hard to see you. So yeah, Abraham had 7 other sons besides Isaac with Sarah. So the 7 other sons he sent in different directions so that Isaac would inherit the land of Israel. And from what I understand, they're just about ready to dig up the artifacts from the tabernacle. You know what the tabernacle was. And all the gold in the vessels, both vessels that were used and vessels that were cut up when they went exiled, because they cut up the vessels when they were exiled, and they gave back the cut up pieces of silver back to the Israelites. And so they have that, along with lots and lots of gold and silver, and who knows what they have down there. But if they start to dig that stuff out, bring that stuff out of the ground, you can be absolutely sure that all eyes will be on Israel. the whole world will be watching them pull these artifacts of 4,000 years ago out of the ground, or whatever it is. 4,000 years? Not quite. 3,000, whatever it is. So the whole world is going to be watching it. It'll be as if, and not only as if, but it will be Israel, the rebirth of Israel, being seen by the whole world. Which by that time it would be hard to deny the existence of God. So either you're going to believe and accept God, or you're just going to be a hater. Just going to hate the truth and anything that's true, perfect, righteous, and good. Later, well, see.